Let me just take the timpani off. Okay, that looks much better. Welcome back, everyone, for another episode of Talking Taboo. I am your host, Trista, and today with me I have my co-host, Hasna Deanna, Pranisha. And missing today, but of course in our prayers, is Psych Perspective. He will not be joining us today. He had a family emergency to tend to, so just make sure that we keep him uplifted, okay? All right, you guys. So let's go ahead and get into our conversation piece for today, which is toxic religion. Okay, y'all get ready for that. What I'm going to do very quickly before we start to chit chat, I want to go ahead and give you all just a brief replay of last week's episode, which was toxic relationships. Okay, stay tuned. What makes a relationship toxic?
The core of a toxic relationship probably would stem from like the lack of communication and the lack of respect for each other.
Why do you all think that people are attracted to toxic relationships?
Talking to my therapist, they said like what you look for in a partner is basically whatever the environment was from your childhood. That's basically what your relationships are going to mirror. So whatever the qualities you saw in your mom, like, you know, if your mom was, you know, she neglected you or, you know, whatever is how you were brought up, that's what you're just used to. And that's what's comfortable for you in a relationship.
It's just sad. Like, you know, you be just hearing that. And then you just sit back like, dang, your parents must have been horrible because these relationships. What is going on? It's just toxic. And it's just like, I'm examining that as I go through this healing stage. Like, yeah, you know, you catch on to, you know, the abandonment issues, the neglect, you know, basically you always having to people please or chase. And it's like, but now, you know, when you're able to go through therapy and counseling, you know, it's a privilege even to be able to just have the chance to go to therapy. But if you have it and you really take it serious and work through some of your issues and be accountable, you just start realizing like, oh, I'm going after people that didn't even like me.
When someone is traumatized by the hands of someone else, it's easy for us to assume that they would hate that person and not want to be around them and do everything they can to never see them again. But then, why do so many of us feel connected, often protective, and sometimes even fall in love with those who abused or harmed us? This very common response is what is known as a trauma bond.
I think what kept me like in toxic situations was more so wanting to help the person heal. It wasn't like I was chasing the feeling of being toxic. You know what I mean? It was more so like, okay, I see you're hurting. How can I help you heal?
But what happened, because I didn't know pretty much my worth, you know, I was like in my teens. I didn't know my worth or what I really deserved. I noticed that I was shutting him down because I was focused on the emotionally unavailable guy. Your upbringing influences those cycles in your life as an adult.
I felt like I wasn't enough. I think it was always that feeling of not being enough. And but baby, I'm dangerous now. I'm
not worthy of good things. I think that was my core belief at that time, looking back at it. And one thing I remember the good guy told me, never limit your options. And that thing stayed with me forever.
Sometimes you could be the toxic one, you know.
That's
good. Nobody ever say why.
That's true.
I was hell on heels now.
Yeah. That's so true.
No, that's another thing. Oh, I know I was hell on heels. Well, no, the dude too. But y'all, I popped up at this dude I was talking to. He was a little dog. I popped up at his house one night playing Inspector Gadget. My tail went straight to jail that night.
Background with my mom, you know, and my non-existent father. It's just like if my mom was in and out. Granted, I get her reasoning now and I'm able to understand, but a lot of that kind of set me up to be thinking I always have to be chasing after somebody.
When they feel threatened, they typically withdraw from the situation.
I have been in a polygyny situation before where I had, you know, a husband, he had multiple wives, and I loved it.
Oh, I see myself with the guy. Like, I see myself with a guy who,
I know, she was excited.
is intelligent. I love the mind. Like, I don't care how you look. I don't care about looks. I'm attracted to mental and emotional, like that inner world. That's what I'm attracted to. I don't care. You can look like a frog. I don't care about that.
Not a frog.
That inside is that's gonna keep me. I'm telling you, that's what I need.
I never thought that I was in toxic relationships because I was just the type of woman that ain't play that, I can't say the other word.
Right.
So, but, growing up, getting a little more insight of who I am through my daughter, I began to treat men any old kind of way because I was tired of being treated that way when I would give my all. And I kept saying, how am I keep giving my all? And they saying that I'm the woman that they want. I'm a good woman. I'm everything that they needed, but then they would go and cheat. So till finally I started turning the table. And I know that when you start turning the tables, they don't like that.
Felt like I was lured in, with the Scooby snacks. I was just, but they're super nice and caring. Like you said, Sour Patch Kid. Super nice and caring. They just come on in. You over here taking pictures. Y'all thinking everything's smooth. Next thing you know, you with a demon.
Girl, I'm still tripping on the frog comment.
Listen,
I love when it's like that. Come on in.
I know, right? I'm gonna miss it's not gonna be the same.
Yeah, it's not the same without him. I miss
right. So that was last week's episode, you guys, toxic relationships. And tonight we're going to be talking about toxic religion. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into our conversation piece for today. Now, were any of you raised as a child in religion or under religion? By show of hands. Okay, so Hasna and Krenisha, what was that experience like for you as a child, and how do you think that affected you, if any?
Niche can go first. She looks like she has a lot to say.
Well, I was brought up in like Southern Baptist type church or whatever. My mom kept us in church. I wasn't learning nothing. I was just sitting there. But I don't know. It was crazy because it's like you see so many people in church all the time, and then it's like what you saying you stand for is not what I'm seeing outside of church. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't just you; it's everybody. It's like the Christians say. They say, oh, we love you. We're supposed to love and care for everybody. But it was like, they be the main ones talking about everybody, putting you down, making you feel unwelcome or whatever the case is. So I don't know. I just felt more like depressed when I was in the church. Because I felt like what they preach is not what I see. And then I'm trying to live a life that really I can't live because we're not perfect. So I'm just like chasing this type of lifestyle that I'm never gonna meet these standards or these rules or whatever the case is. And then it was, I think it's some verse or something that says the wages of sin is death, right?
Yeah.
But it said we're born into sin. So I'm like, if we're born into sin and the wages of sin is death, then what am I, why am I working why am I trying so like it's a lose-lose situation right here. I don't know. So I don't know. It's just crazy. It's been a crazy journey for me.
Okay. What was your experience like, Hasna?
Well, I was brought up in the Baptist church. I mean, I witnessed a lot, but I will say that I've learned some things growing up in the church. I I mean, overall, we have to realize that the church is a house full of sinners. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And we all are sick, and we're coming there to be healed. So when I was young, I always thought about trying not to look at the people so much and look at what I could get from the religion, even at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother, she kept us heavy into church. I mean, I was in discipleship. I was on a praise team. I was on a dance ministry. I was on a mind ministry. I went to Bible study. I did it all. But as time went on, I wasn't connected with what Christianity brought. I wasn't connected to that. So I decided to like search other religions and stuff like that, and just go for what was, speaking to my heart and, made sense to me. Overall, I just focus on my connection with my Lord. I try to really keep my focus about the people away, because I believe like with religion is more so perfect than the people. You get what I'm saying? So I witnessed a lot. I mean, I felt some, my worst in church before. I've had people to where when I converted to Islam, because I practice Islam, I'm a Muslim, so I practice Islam. So it was just it was different growing up, and then when I decided to convert, how people treated me. So I didn't like that, because it was more so like, if I was not a person who started off in the church and your job is to welcome me in, now you made me feel uncomfortable because now you're judging me, and we're taught not to judge. So it's just, it's those things, how we're taught not to do so much, but we do so much of what we're taught not to do.
Right.
So,
Okay.
I have a question real quick.
I'm
just wondering, like, I don't know, is it like a staple for Black people to, for the most part, do the Baptist type? Because I feel like most people I know, that's kind of like, that's been their start, the whole Baptist church. Or
I mean, I guess it's just like what you were brought up on. So
yeah.
When I think of the Baptist church, I always think of like slavery,
right? And them hymns,
the hymns, the culture of us sticking together and freedom, and that's what I get from like the Baptist church. You know what I mean? Because usually Baptist churches are all African American churches,
right?
Yeah.
And I could be wrong, but from growing up and from what I've witnessed,
that's what we've seen. Yeah.
Now, from my personal experience, I didn't grow up in church. Now, I've been to church as a child. I had an aunt that would go, and she would try to stop by the house and pick us up. And it's so funny that at times I remember us lying to get out of going, because my thing, what child really want to go to church? In my opinion, most children are forced to go to church. But I mean, there may be some that like going, but I remember her trying to basically get us to go, and we would be making up lies saying, oh, my mama said we can't go today, stuff like that, because we didn't want to go. But I wasn't raised in church, and it wasn't forced on me at all. And I think that benefited me, because I look at it like this. That itself is, especially if you were brought up under what I like to think of just toxic religion, just generations repeating itself, going to church, but the religion, or it's not helping anybody. Because I do think that we can be religious, and then we can also have a relationship with the Creator. And I think a lot of people are religious. We're just doing things because we were taught. We're doing things out of habit and obligation. But for me, I look at it like the benefit of me not being raised under that is that I am not, I don't feel like I'm stuck, as if it's something that I have to unlearn to get out of. Now, I have been in church for about 10 years. I made a personal decision to join, maybe like in my 20s, early 20s. But again, that was a personal decision. Nobody forced it on me. And I think the benefit of that is that I'm making that decision. Oh, hold on. Psych is joining us. Hold on, y'all.
Oh, better come through.
Oh, no.
Now we're complete.
Yeah. So we were basically just just asking everybody if they were raised in the church and what that experience has been like for them. But I'm just going to finish up real quick. But basically, I wasn't raised in the church, and I think the benefit of that is that I feel like it's not another ball game that I have to unlearn. I look at it like being raised in a dysfunctional family is enough. Being raised in a dysfunctional family and church on top of that, that's like a double whammy, in my opinion. And that's more that you have to unlearn. So I thought it benefited me in that way. So what about you, Psych? Were you raised under religion at all growing up?
I was with my grandparents on my mother's side. It was Kojic Church of God in Christ. So that's the background that I grew up with. Very early on, church was pretty much every Sunday. It was a big ordeal. You got dressed, you put on your best clothes. It was almost like a status, like, about what type of clothing you put on. And it was really ingrained in our life. It was a part of our everyday thing. I mean, even during the week, my granny would be going to the church to do different things, whether that's cooking or helping volunteer. We would be up there even on the weekdays. So,
okay. How do you believe that affected your life? Do you see any benefits, or was it beneficial at all?
Who going first?
Oh, no, Psych.
Oh, okay.
Was it beneficial for you?
um, I feel like religion has its place. There's some positives, some good things that I was able to gain from that. But there were a lot of things where I had to take a break. I mean, as young as 11 years old, I pretty much knew this wasn't for me. So it's hard for me to pinpoint the positives, but it's easy for me to look at the negatives and see how that I was impacted that way.
Right. Okay, now that we all are adults, what are your personal thoughts and belief just regarding organized religion as a whole? I'm going to start with you, Nisha.
Well, I think with me as an adult, I actually took like a religion class probably about 7 years ago. And that kind of opened my eyes up to, different belief systems or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So then that started making me question, like, well, why do people feel Christianity is that's the way, that's the only way, that's the right way. If you ain't a Christian, you going to hell. You know what I'm saying? Then that started making me question, like, who says so? Who, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's so ingrained, but who said so? You know what I'm saying? Because there's other religions that they welcome people anyways, regardless of what you believe, I was speaking with like a Muslim guy before, and we had a conversation, and it wasn't like he was coming from a judgmental place. He pulled out the Bible, he pulled out the Quran, he pulled out other, documents supporting what he's talking about. Whereas I feel like most Christians, they'll be like, well, the Bible says, and then most of the time they taking something out of content or trying to spin it and twist it to make it what they're saying anyways. Right. So I don't know. I just kind of backed off from all of that because I'm like so open-minded to different things. I don't want to I feel I'll fit in with no particular religion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, where are you now, Hasna? You want to elaborate a little bit more?
Well, I still practice Islam, but for me, I just more so focus on my personal relationship with my creator. That's what I worry about. I don't get too caught up in what everybody else is doing, how they're doing it. Mm-hmm. I'm really like focused on what works for me. Yeah. I will say that growing up in Christianity, it had its perks. Like it was things that I've gained, and it was things that whatever wasn't for me, I left alone. You know what I mean? Same with Islam. Like you realize that it's just people doing what they think is best with what they have or what they're practicing or what they're reading or whatever. And when you begin to get so caught up in, oh, well, you supposed to be Christian, or you supposed to be Muslim, or you supposed to be this. Well, at the end of the day, I'm a human being who is just striving to do what's right, to be a good person. And I think we get so caught up in the religious part of things that we forget to just be a good person.
Yes, yes.
So that's what I focus on. I've taken things throughout my journey in life from Christianity. I have taken things, on my journey in life from Islam. I have friends who are like, you know, Catholic or Buddhism or whatever the case may be. I feel like when you really open up your mind to just learn about religion and not so much being ignorant, you understand a little more.
Yeah.
Like, to you be your religion, to me be mine. Like, we may not move the same way, talk the same way, pray the same way, but at the end of the day, we're all just trying to get to a good place. You get what I'm saying? And that's how it helps me. Because maybe if I really focus on all the crap that goes on behind religion, I would be probably worse off than what I am now.
Right, right. Where I'm pretty much at is at this point in my life. For me, I've stepped out of church probably around like 2018, 17, 18, and I felt around 2016 like God was shifting me before, I actually left. And I remember talking to a good friend who, even though we're the same age, I call her my spiritual mother because she's just so in tune. And she was like, Tristan, well, maybe God's calling you out. And to me, that's something like, you don't hear people saying that. And again, I can't speak to nobody within church about this. They'll look at you like you're crazy. You see what I'm saying? And let me just say this real quick. When I made the decision to leave, I had deacons and people coming up to me. You sure God, is God telling you to do this? And I'm sitting here like, how crazy can y'all be? Like, do y'all not have a personal relationship to where you feel that God can talk to us individually? You see what I'm saying? But anyway, at this point in my life, there are things in Christianity that are beneficial. I think there's things in any religion that are beneficial. And I don't necessarily think it's the religion per se, it's the people that taint the religion. So I don't want to say it's religion, it's the people. But as of right now, I'm trying to focus more just on that spiritual connection. Because even as a child, when I was like 6 or 7 years old, like I remember God speaking to me then. And I wasn't a Christian. You see what I'm saying? I didn't have the Holy Spirit and, all of that. So my thing is, God was already speaking to me as a child, so I'm just basically focusing on that. And when I look at my life, I've seen God's hands in my life all throughout my life. So nobody can tell me that he's not real to me. But far as the religion, that's not what he's calling me in. Again, I was in Christianity for like 10 years. And I just felt like this wasn't for me. This is not for me anymore. So I'm with you, Hasna. I love people. And I just love learning about different people. And I look at it like right now, my religion is love. That's what I'm focused on right now. Psych, what is your current perspective, thoughts, and etc. on religion?
Well, currently I'm pretty much agnostic humanist. I'm very much inclined with being spiritual and being that essence. And like what all three of you have stated, I respect and honor different types of religions and spiritual practices. I feel like you can find truths and value in all of them. And it's about honoring and respecting people. And then again, you have the message behind the spirituality or the religion, but it's the actions that humans take that pretty much taint it. So it's like, if it's about love, then why are you preaching hate? Why are your actions about hating and telling somebody or a group of people that they're going to hell for A, B, and C? Meanwhile, the person that's pointing the finger is doing A, B, and C. So it's just like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now, you guys, I want you all to tell me about an experience that you've had, whether this was inside a religious setting or with someone who, was hardcore, proclaiming, professing. That was a toxic experience that has turned you off. I'm going to start with you, Syke.
Uh, for me, I just feel like this is my life in general, but it's just people who just want to act holier than thou in general. Like I've had so many experiences with very religious, at least they put on that facade that that's what they're all about, but then they're the main ones doing the most grimiest stuff. It's like, what is the purpose of sitting up here judging and casting judgment on everyone else when you have your own skeletons in the closet? Like, again, it's always the preacher's kid that's actually the wildest person you're going to meet. So I just, like, I've had experiences like that where it's just like, really, y'all sitting up here, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. 5 minutes later, you sitting up, F this, F that, you about to, like, it's just, I don't understand. The switch of personalities. That's what I've seen.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Okay. I'm gonna let y'all finish, then I'm gonna get to this because this may be a whole nother conversation. Hasna, what's your opinion? Or what's your, y'all, excuse me, I'm jumping ahead in my mind. What's your experience been, if you've had any?
My overall experience with both religions is people just not being real with themselves. I think we are constantly, and I'm going to just say we as people, we're constantly like trying to live up to somebody else's standards or just forgetting where we come from. And because we're no longer in that place and space, and now we have a title, we get caught up in the titles. And you forget that at the end of the day, you are a human being who is very much flawed. Every day can be a struggle for you. But when you get so caught up in the title and trying to be perfect, that you tend to hide a lot of the things that you're going through. So for me, overall, my experience is that within the religions, it's just I've come across a lot of people who aren't able to be themselves. Whether it's due to your sexual preference, so now you feel like because you are into the same sex that you feel like the church is like, oh, you can't be called to do.
Girl, you better talk that.
You love this person, you know what I mean? And a lot of the times you have even the pastors or the bishops or the imams and stuff like that, which for those who don't know, the imam is a person who is, I want to say, kind of like the pastor to help you guys understand. You know what I mean? So it's like within that world, you have people who are just not being true with themselves. You have people fighting demons and everything else, but it's so easy to point the finger at you because you're the big sinner. You know what I mean? So I think with me overall and the run-ins that I've had in the past, it's just people not being real.
Yeah.
You know, we are every day we're asking God for forgiveness. Every day is a struggle. You know, it's easy to do wrong. You get what I'm saying? And for some it's very easy to do right. So I would really say that my overall is just people not being real.
Yeah.
And hiding behind religion.
Yeah, I was definitely going to hit on that. Because I personally believe that religion, it just breeds so much fear, guilt, and shame. I know like pastor kids personally, and all of them are people pleasers. All of them are conformers. All of them are basically living a life somebody else created for them. You see what I'm saying? So it's like,
it's fake because that's not who you are.
It is. The experiences that I've had, and I can definitely say that I fell in line in that sense too at the time. But it's for me, it's just that, well, first of all, you can't talk real. You can't address real things. You can't talk about it. For instance, if there's an issue going on, you'll be told, oh, let it go, and made to feel like you're the issue for bringing it up. The same thing that we see in dysfunctional families. We bring that stuff to church, and you're made to seem as if you're holding a grudge, you're not being forgiven, and just you're the problem if you try to address anything or call basically the BS out. So I look at it like a lot of these environments, they enable abuse. They enable it. An experience that I had was actually one with a pastor. And the issue was, pretty much just to summarize, he actually failed to do some things. And what I saw in that moment was, because of what he failed to do, it fell back on me. And I was considering at that time leaving the church, but I said, no, you know what? Let me go talk to him. You see what I'm saying? Let me go talk to him and have a conversation to let him know how I felt about it. And immediately, pretty much when we got into the office or the situation, it came across to me as if, because he could not take accountability, or he didn't want to address the issue, that he started basically blaming and making me the issue for bringing it up. But what I saw in that moment was, he was pretty much a people pleaser. He was one of those people to where he wanted the approval of man. And because of that, he could not effectively do his job. So he's the type of person that would rather sweep stuff under the rug than to confront it and address it. And me being the type of person I am, I can't rock like that. I can't deal with that. If that's the type of leader you are, because I look at it like the house, a lot of the times, is only as healthy as the leader. So if the leader allows everything to go on, then it's going to be all kind of hell running through there. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying that he can control grown people, but some things you have to address. And I think that's one thing that we don't do enough just in Christianity. We like to leave everything up to God. Oh, well, God will handle them. God will address it. Well, no. If you see me stumbling, call me out. Do you see what I'm saying? If you see me causing confusion, call me out. We're supposed to hold one another accountable. But in that situation, I believe, because he would have been losing out pretty much those supporters that make him feel validated. If he would have spoken up, he would have lost out on that. So I think in that moment, he was worried more about his comfort than doing what was right. And unfortunately, I think that goes on a lot, just within Christianity in general. We'll rather allow things to go on than to and enable stuff than to speak up. Mm-hmm. Another situation is when I got the deacon involved, but the deacon was basically a yes man. Like, he would only speak when the pastor told him to speak. He wouldn't speak up for what was right. It's just like he was just there to basically co-sign with the pastor. It's like nobody really has a mind of their own. And I'm sitting here like, you all are men of God. You're supposed to be a man of God, and you're telling me God's not correcting you internally on what you're doing? Because if that was me, like, I could be in there just lying. Like, that's just not going to sit right with me. So that just showed me, like, who are we really? You know what I mean? Behind these titles, etc. Like, what is this a joke to you? You see what I'm saying? So it's just, I just can't. And not only that, I just see like everybody, not everybody, but mostly everybody in the church, it seems like people were just running around. I saw a lot of the rejection wounds, the abandonment wounds, everybody running around competing, trying to get approval. And I'm just like, it was just like a sad sight to see. It's like everybody was fighting for validation. But I'm sitting here like, okay, this Jesus that we profess, is he not feeling these wounds? You see what I'm saying? People like to say, oh, well, try Jesus. But you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm just so over all the, you know what I mean? Like the, what's the song that we sing? I'm free, praise the Lord. I'm free. But we're in bondage to man. We're in bondage to everybody. Like, I
We
feel
all
like we're just saying stuff. We don't believe the stuff that we profess. And that's the problem for me. We don't believe the stuff that we profess. And at this moment, I don't want to deal with that no more. I want to be real. You see what I'm saying?
And you know what? I can honestly say, like, I don't go to church. Like,
Yeah.
it's not my thing. I'm like, of course, it doesn't have anything to do with me being in a different religion, because I am so open. Like, my friends and family will tell you, if I can step foot in the church, and if something is connecting with me with what the pastor is bringing, I'm going to take that and I'm going to feed my soul how it needs to be fed. You get what I'm saying? I'm going to take the things that make sense, not the stuff that's brainwashing people, not the stuff that man is coming out of his mouth and saying. I'm going to take the way that God is connecting me with the message, and I'm going to take that and use it and apply it to my life. You get what I'm saying? My friend, one of my closest friend, she's a minister, and she also branched out from this big church that we were going to and started going to a different church. And when I was there not too long in October, she always makes me feel comfortable. She's like, Bink, I know that you're not into church and this, that, and the third, but this is what we're doing today. Do you want to participate or whatever? And I'm always like, yeah, I'm down. I'm down for whatever. So I ended up going to her church. And when I tell you, it gets no realer than this. You get what I'm saying? And when I think of a person being broken, a person fighting demons, when I think of people like that, and to be able to come to a place of worship where, if you are a cigarette smoker, they got a little spot on the side where you can smoke your cigarettes. If if you are alcoholic, nobody is judging you for being an alcoholic. It's like, listen, this is a place of worship. Come in. We're going to love on you. We're going to try to feed your soul however you need to be fed, to send you out this door and get you through the week. And even with me being a part of a different religion, it was like that did something to my heart. And I explained to her, I was like, you know what? I can come here with being upon a different religion, and still my soul can get fed from sitting here, because I see how real it is. A lot of the times we miss the message because we're so focused on the religion and who it's coming from. So you really miss a good message.
Right.
So that's how I just been connecting. Like, I really don't. To some people, people will always find a way to judge you, because that's what we do as people. But I'm like, it's whatever works for you. Because some of the people that are called to, as we say, called to do God's work, lies in the bosom of people where you are a human being to tell you that you ain't called, that God didn't call you, because you want to because you're a man and you decide to lay down with a man. Oh, you're not called. You get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's so many people out there that are called to do some amazing things, but it's just so much criticism.
Yeah. Nisha, did you share already?
I did not.
Oh, okay. Is there an experience you'd like to speak about?
Yeah, I think I don't know what it is about the time frame when I had my son that kind of changed the game or whatever, because I was very much so in church, and you know what I'm saying, or before that. But I know before I found out I was pregnant with my son, I got baptized. But before I got baptized, I spoke to the pastor and I was like, I want to get baptized. I said, but I drink, and I said, I have sex, and I'm not married, so I fornicate. So I don't know if this is time to, because I'm like, I'm still a sinner. He was like, well, go ahead and do it. And, I got baptized or whatever and joined the church. And after I had my son, I wanted to get him dedicated to God. But the pastor was like, okay, I can do it, but I have to do it basically he's saying I have to do it behind closed doors. You're not married. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. I guess I kind of feel like, well, you want us in church every week. You want us active in church. But then it's like, I'm supposed to be like hidden because
Yeah.
I'm a sinner. You know what I'm saying? And I just felt some type of way. I don't know. I just felt some type of way about that because I'm like, I feel like that's like kind of contradictory. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like,
Like
you want
you're
me here, you want my money, you want me to be active in the church, but I did something that was wrong. And it's like I'm supposed to be like shunned for it, like, oh, we'll just keep you behind closed doors. You know what I'm saying? And that's fine if that's how you would do anybody and everybody. But people have children outside of wedlock all the time.
And then even when people get married, you're conjoining people who God ain't never put together. Like, you're not questioning that, because there's a lot of people. I'm just gonna keep it real. Some of these people, you'd be like, I'm not. A lot of people that got married that I know, I knew their marriage wasn't going to work when they got married. You see what I'm saying?
Well, they knew their marriage wasn't going to work when they got married.
For real, I'm like, people marry anybody, but
because now it's just
over that.
People are not getting married to, like, people just like that word, I'm married.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to do the work, and nobody wants to commit to what comes with marriage.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times you get caught up in all these. First of all, in any religion, I haven't yet seen that you had to be perfect.
Mm.
So it's like, why are you, as another human being who's not perfect, condemning me so much on my imperfections? You get what I'm saying? And a lot of things I didn't agree with, and going to church is like the whole. I remember at one, I was a teenager, and I got pregnant, and I was on a choir. And when certain people in the church found out that I was pregnant, they set me down off the choir. Because it was like, oh, we can't have you up here. It's like, what?
I guess this like there's like you're being shunned.
What am I being hidden for? Because then you have the minister of music over here who's sleeping with the deacon's
right.
Yeah. But yet I can't stand up here because I wasn't married
right
when I conceived. Like a lot of this stuff, I don't agree with. I don't. Right. I don't, and I probably will never will.
Right. And the crazy thing with my situation is my son's dad played drums in the church. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, he very well could have called my son dad up there, and we both, dedicated my son to God. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, why? What was such the big issue or conflict about that situation?
Mm-mm. Yeah, I think that'll be questions that we'll never be able to.
Right. It just seems like I just think a lot of places are religious. Everybody's just religious. They're performing. I personally believe, and this is just me, it's not everybody. I personally believe that a lot of people are simply repeating cycles. A lot of people come to religion in attempts to soothe their issues with, low self-esteem, worthlessness, etc. The same thing, like, hey, some people may overeat, some people may turn to drugs, some people may turn to sex, some people turn to religion. Mm-hmm. And we don't look at it like that, but religion is a coping mechanism for a lot of people. They come in order to try to feel better. And then a lot of people, especially with Christianity, because that's really the only religion I know, a lot of them, they use it as a tool to feel superior. Where my religion is the only one true religion. First of all, can't none of us sit here and say that we know any religion to be the true religion. We don't know this stuff. We're just doing what feels right to us. We don't know. We don't know if Jesus is real. We don't know this stuff. You see what I'm saying? So nobody can sit here and confidently say that I know this to be the right way. Nobody can say that, but I think a lot of people, when they come into the situation in attempts to look for something to make them feel better, they turn to me, they become religious. I really think, and I think they ended up doing more harm than good, in the situation. So I'm just so over it. But
I will say, I don't care what nobody believe, respect to everyone and what they believe and how they practice. But I know for me, can't nobody tell me about God not being real. I don't care what you call him. I don't care how you worship him. I don't care what you do, because I know for a fact that I myself didn't get myself to where I am today. Right. You get what I'm saying? I did my part, and God did what he had to do in my life. But I know that I didn't do it on my own. And a lot of people they don't connect with a spiritual being
Mm-hmm.
due to it's so many hypocritical things going on that you people, it's hard for people to connect.
But
Yeah.
are people even really taught? Because I know going to church, I never was taught. Like they didn't teach me how to, they'll say the little prayers or they'll read the Bible. They'll do their sermon. But like literally, like okay, this is because if a child come to church, they don't know nothing about prayer. You know what I'm saying? Like who teaches
I know
anything?
for me,
You're supposed
I
to
will
be
say
at
for
home.
me, I was taught. My grandmother didn't play. You get what I'm saying? It wasn't just, and her rule was, if you live in my house, you're going to practice the religion that I practice. Because you're under her roof, and that is what she did. But when she decided to make that her rule, she taught. She did a lot of teaching, and I thank her for that. But when I got older, I chose the religion that I wanted to choose, and she respected me. She did respect me. I was able to sit down with her and tell her, you know what, Nana, I know that you raised me this way. I know we went to church. I mean, we was in church 7 days a week. And honestly speaking, for me, that was really at a point in time that was a happy place for me to be. I had all my friends there. I enjoyed going to discipleship. And for those who don't know what discipleship is, it's actually, it's learning the religion basically. So we would on Saturdays and stuff, we would branch off to different groups according to your level or your age group, and you really study the religion inside and out. So it's certain things that took place in my life that allowed me to understand what I was being a part of at the time. Now, getting older, some of it didn't make sense to me, and nobody can point me in a direction to even have an idea of what the answer can be or why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that's something that made me turn to Islam, because every question that I had, I can find an answer. Everything, I mean, from praying, the way, Muslims pray.
Right.
Some people will be like, oh my goodness, I ain't doing that. I don't want to pray this many times. I don't want to do that. But when you think about how good the Creator has been to you, then why wouldn't you want to?
Right.
Them?
You have more structure.
And I think overall, exactly. There you go, Nisha. It's structure.
Right.
You don't have to be extremists. We can really just be everything requires some type of structure. So it's like when you think about, before we pray in Islam, you perform what is called wudu, which is you clean your nose, you clean your hands, you clean your feet, and things like that. Because when you come before God, no, everybody is not pure and clean when you come before. But if you are able to do so, then you want to come before your Lord in a clean, environment and in a clean place, and just seeking His guidance and His help. So I think we get too caught up in our own, what we think religion is supposed to be, than really connecting with the Creator.
And you know what that shows me as well is that people don't study for themselves. People are simply repeating cycles. A lot of people are simply repeating cycles and patterns that grandma and them did, and they don't know what they're studying or why they're doing it. I bet if you ask the average person sitting in church, why do you believe what you believe?
They can't tell you. They can't tell you.
They're simply repeating patterns. That's it. They're simply repeating patterns. I look at it like this. You should know the whys behind everything that you do, everything that you believe, etc. If you don't, it's somebody else's belief. It's not yours.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what makes, I don't know. I guess that's the toxic part of it, because it's like you're just following a cycle.
That's all. Yeah. And
even like when we talk about parenting stuff, people just, oh, this is what my mama did, grandma did.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We don't anything. And that goes to the next question. Like, I personally believe, especially how we as people are doing it, it keeps you in a cycle of control for once. I personally don't think you can really be free under religion. I think you have to make it personal and more connect with, your being, creator, whatever, whoever you want to call him, her, whoever. I don't believe that. I really think that organized religion keeps you in bondage. I personally feel the freest that I've ever felt in my life. Now is the freest I've ever felt, because I feel like I'm able to accept myself. Like, I don't feel that shame.
Right.
I felt like, within religion, you have to perform. That's pretty much what a lot of people are doing. You're performing. You're just performing for other people. You're performing for other people.
And I will say that, having experience in both religions, I've noticed that, like, even in Islam, it's sad to say, but for me, you see the people, how we cover. And at some point, I just felt like it became a fad. I'm like, everybody is walking around and they're in these beautiful garments and stuff like that. But are you praying? Are you studying? And then they'll look at somebody like me who decides today I'm not going to cover. I mean, I used to cover, guys. I used to be covered to where all you could see was my eyes, because these are things that, and Islam is taught that your husband is only supposed to see your beauty. You want to hide your beauty, which is perks in hiding your beauty. I don't go against none of that. When you think about it, I have never heard in my lifetime, not saying that it never happened, but I've never heard of a Muslim woman who's fully covered being raped. Just walking up the street, somebody snatching her, and now she's raped. You get what I'm saying? I've never heard it, because when you see these women covered, it's respect. People are giving you more respect and moving out your way and being kind and being, different things. But at the same time, that don't make me better than you, because you have people who will dress like that, completely covered, but they know nothing about the religion, or they completely covered, and under those clothes, they sleeping with everybody in town. But because you're covered, now you're better than me. So that's some things that, since you guys can only speak on being Christian, but with me being Christian and practicing Islam, I have witnessed where people are like, "Oh, Deanna, are you still Muslim because you don't cover anymore?" I'm like, "So are you saying that the clothes make me who I am?" Right. Because you're the one wearing the clothes, but yet you're not praying. You're not doing things that is upon this religion, but I'm doing everything but covering, and all you see is that I'm not covered. So it's always that people want to judge. People have their own thing of feeding their mind and thinking that how things should be.
Right. And you know what? This is what I want to get to next. I notice in different geographic locations, you notice that it's like, for instance, I'm from the South. Most people are Christian down South. Once I started, noticing up north where my family is from, I noticed that there's more variety to choose from, more like Islam, etc. Now, do you all believe that slavery had a lot to do with that? Because I know down south, a lot of people are Christian, but up north, there's more variety.
Yeah, that's why they call it the Bible Belt.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Do you believe that Christianity is whitewashed, or and why?
To conform, just to conform to, to be a good servant, and whatever they were trying to push at the time. That's just what they use. I would say religion for at that time.
Go ahead, Sai.
Going off what you were saying, it being pushed and enforced. I mean, our ancestors weren't supposed to know how to read and write.
Yeah.
The Bible. You're not supposed to know how to read, but somehow you can read this though, because again, it's all about order and control. If the whole time you're telling me that everybody in the Bible is white and they're the ones going to heaven, and what's wrong with you? You're black, and you're constantly being told if you want to get to heaven, you basically have to be a good slave the entire time. It's like, and again, the same people that gave you that Bible, that book, that religion, they're not following any of the things that they're doing. It's just
all the evil stuff y'all do.
Right. And I look at it as the same way, being passed down to generations. I mean, you look at the slave masters of slaves, you look at some grandparents, how they treat their children, parents, how they're treating us. Everybody is master-slave relationship, because I know so many families, like people go to church constantly, but everybody's repeating these same horrible cycles, generation after generation. I'm like, how is it helping? What's the benefit? I personally, and all I can do is speak about what I know. I personally don't see any benefits. I don't. Like, do you all really see a difference in somebody who is not religious versus somebody who claim
Hell
religion?
no.
I don't see a benefit.
No,
I don't see a
no.
difference. I don't.
I have to agree too. I really don't. I don't know. I've been around people who's very religious, and I've been around people who have no religion at all.
Right.
But the one who has no religion at all is like really a genuine, kind-hearted, loving, caring person.
Yeah.
So when I've been around a person who's very religious, this is like, damn. You know what I mean? So it's really it's the person.
Yeah.
I mean, you're either a good person or you're a bad person.
I agree. Yeah.
Y'all, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I got something that's going to be very controversial.
It's good. Go ahead.
Cause and I never even thought about this, but my homegirl, she don't do the church thing either. So we have these conversations. Y'all ready to hear what she said? Cause it's not out my mouth. This was out her mouth, but I was like, this is interesting.
Go ahead.
So she was saying, she was like Mary in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
She had Jesus, but it wasn't consensual. She didn't, you know what I'm saying? So she was like, why should I follow a religion where something happened to a woman that she didn't really agree to? And I was like, wow,
And
that her husband didn't agree to it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, that's deep.
I guess for me, I mean, that is deep.
If you ever look at it from that angle, you're like, hold on, but maybe she even wanted to have, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I never looked at it. I never looked at it that way. I just always looked at it in the way of, God just performing miracles, like showing the people, what He can do. Mm-hmm. And it was just like it's a test of your faith. Do you believe? Do you believe in what you say? But I never looked at it that way. I don't know that. Yeah, I respect it. I never looked at it that way.
Somebody said she wasn't sexually violated, but where the seed, like, you just got to, like,
and it's crazy.
That really made me like,
yeah,
that's an interesting perspective.
And I think that's good to think. I mean, it's good. Ask questions, because in my opinion, a lot of people are a lot of times we're forbidden to think or question, things. When you would try to ask a question, some people would be like, oh, well, you don't question the Lord. Yeah, you don't question God. So some people are afraid to even think for themselves, but you have to. So that's good. Ask questions,
And again, when you look at the Bible from a historical text, the entire Bible is filled of rape, slaughter, and incest.
All type of
stuff. I mean, they're literally telling you to marry the rapist. And then you wonder where here we are today dealing with sexism and misogyny. A lot of this is bred out of our religious texts because of how human beings have chosen to interpret things.
Right. And that's a good point, because I personally believe that, like, everybody's going to see things different, and depending on whose hand you put a Bible in or a Quran or whatever the case may be in, is what you're going to get out of it. So if you have somebody who's loving, they're into growth, self-improvement, you're going to get something positive out of it. But if you got somebody who's narcissistic, somebody who can't take accountability, somebody who seeks power, control, approval of man, you're not going to really get much out of it.
Right.
So it just depends on the type of person and pretty much just their inner world and what they want out of it. A lot of people, first of all, don't want to be accountable, like, at all. So that person is going to hide behind religion. Oh, well, I'm forgiven. God forgave me. No. To me, if He's a loving God, listen, I'm going to get it right with my brother or sister. If I've done something to you, like, first of all, I'm going to be convicted in myself. I'm going to come to you and get it right. So if you're somebody that can just do stuff to people and the only thing you can say is, oh, I'm forgiven, and you hide behind religion to excuse your mess, I question that hard. Like, I don't Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know. It's just so many things that kind of like rub you the wrong way. Like,
And it just depends on the person. Everybody utilize religion for different reasons, and you got some of the evil ones, and you got some of the good ones. So
yeah, and that's true. I think what used to like I won't say rub me the wrong way, but I used to have questions on because you will go to counseling and stuff like that. Like before you got married, you had to go sit with the pastor and go to counseling and things like that. And one thing that I noticed within just religion, period, people are always telling you what you should do and how you should go about things, but nobody never wants to address or talk about what will help you hold on to the marriage. Or it's like
they don't even know.
It's like
even exactly they don't be knowing.
It's like even when you begin to talk about like sex, like it's something
I'm going to talk about.
Like when you go, even if you go to like a group, like say if it's the singles ministry, because they have stuff like that in churches too. So it's or the marriage ministry or whatever, and it's like you will have all these different ministries, but nobody never wants to address
real
issues of things.
That's right.
It's like, okay, if you are with somebody and if you are a married couple and we are in this marriage group, why can't we converse about healthy sex, bad sex, ways to keep your man, like whatever, like let's have these conversations because like some people just don't know. Honey. And I don't mean like keeping your man, but like keeping each other satisfied. Right. Like who do you have these conversations with? But then it's like everybody is just so holier than thou that nobody wants to have these.
I think it's more shame. I just think it's shame. I personally think religion, especially if it's forced upon you, it breeds shame. That shame, guilt, and fear. And a lot of people think something's wrong with sex, or they've been taught that something's wrong with sex, and a lot of people are sneaking and creeping doing their stuff. Right. I mean, you look at it. A lot of people, you'd be surprised at what a lot of people doing in church. A lot of people sleeping with this person, sleeping with that person. Lord knows what behind closed doors, because it's shame surrounding it. If we didn't have this this thought that this was wrong, shame to me comes from the thought that this is wrong per somebody else. Right. So you duck, dodge, you sneak, creep, and do all this, that, and other. So if it was no shame, imagine that. Imagine how free people could be in the house of, Christ, in the mosque, whatever, religion that you're under. Just imagine how free, open, and real people could be if there was no such thing as shame. Right. So I know these religions, how people are working the religion and honoring the religion makes it toxic. There shouldn't be shame around it, in my opinion, but there is, and I think that's why we're in the mess that we're in.
But I think religion it's kind of like it's a dysfunctional family.
Yeah, it is. It's just another form
of a dysfunctional family. Like
all of this stuff.
It's like a group of people of different walks of life, hiding their secrets and everything else because you feel like you can't just be. You can't be real. You can't be like, if I'm coming in, like even in religions, we're supposed to welcome the sinners, right? We're all sinners, but it's levels to it. Yeah. So now you're getting judged based off of your level of sin.
Right. No, but answer me this.
You're being judged off your level of sin. And it's so sickening to me, but when you really sit back and look at it, I think that's what makes it toxic, though. Because now you're judging me based off my levels of sin. You're judging me because we're not being real. You're not being real with yourself, nor are you being real with those who you're welcoming in. So it just makes the whole dynamic like.
And you know what I think that comes from? Going back to dysfunctional families. If I point out your flaw, I don't have to deal with mine. So if I talk about homosexuality, I don't have to deal with how I got 5 side chicks on the side, how I got 20 kids out of wedlock, how I'm sitting here, doing Lord knows what behind closed doors. So if I focus on your sin, I don't have to look at mine. So I'm going to scapegoat you. That's pretty much what they do.
And I'm gonna stem from what you were saying too about how they don't have like the counseling or whatever, the marriage thing. But do y'all like realize like with our people, like the marriage rate is so low all women are like, they feel like, oh, I don't need a man and all I need is Jesus. What? I mean, like, do y'all feel like that's something that's really like being pushed in the church? Like, I don't even think the focus in church is family. You know what I'm saying?
It's so crazy because a lot of people say that. I've heard people be like, you know what? I don't need a man. All I need is
honey, I be needing
and I'm like, honey, Jesus ain't gonna get. He gonna give you a feeling, but that one feeling that you craving,
ain't gonna come from
he
him.
gonna give you that.
Or it might, honey, because back to what we was talking about earlier. You know what I'm saying?
What happened to sight?
I don't know. We'll just leave it on, see if he come back in. Look like his camera just went off. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Let me go ahead and open the phone lines. I didn't do that yet. Because time be getting away. I didn't realize it was this late. All right, you guys, we're going to go ahead and open the phone lines for anybody who may want to call in, share your thoughts, perspective, opinions. Let me go ahead and do that really quick. All right, so we'll have that in case somebody want to call. Is that my phone? All right, so I got that open. But we know
religion is always a touchy topic and subject. And
hold on, do y'all hear like static?
Static,
yeah, I do.
Y'all don't call in being mad at me for nothing I said.
Does somebody hear static? Psych, do you hear static? Do you hear static?
I don't have any static on my end.
Okay. All right.
I don't hear it.
Went away now.
I don't hear it now.
Okay. Okay, what are some of the let me ask this. Do you all think that people can truly heal and be all that they're called to be, in a sense, under religion? Do you really think you can heal and be free under religion?
I don't think so. For my opinion, no.
Okay. What you got to say, Sai?
For me personally, no. I mean, it's hard to go somewhere where you're constantly being told you're going to burn in hell for I mean, so it's like I'm not going where I'm not welcome. I've long learned, go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated.
Right. Honey, sometimes life feel like hell already, so I be like
I'm telling you, I'm like, what's going on?
And you know what else I like to think? Like focusing on Christianity, for instance. The kind of like the belief is that, okay, there was so much sin, God came to earth as man, to save us from our sins, die for our sins, etc. And, you must believe in Christ, that he's the one and only true living God, etc., in order to be saved. Now, if you look at people just across the world, in certain, let's say Middle Eastern, they were raised under something totally different. And, everybody has their different religious beliefs. And a lot of it, again, is culturally, generationally. I mean, you can't help how you were born.
Honey, they going to hell.
Oh, that's what did I say? Oh,
what was that?
Was it playing the piano?
Different strokes, I think. I know.
So I just think about that, and not only that, I look at like how some people were born. Let's say, for instance, if somebody was abused, and they develop, I'm just going to say like antisocial personality, narcissistic personality, etc. And this person has no empathy, no remorse, etc. Again, that was contributed from the trauma they experienced. How is that their fault?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So now they're out here causing everybody else hell. And so they're going to hell. You get what I'm saying? Because they have no self-awareness, no self. You get what I'm saying? So
at what point do anybody go and try to, even have that brother or sisterhood that pull them to the side and like, what's going, let's try to figure out what's going on with you. Like,
and even that is like some people, because the issues that the trauma has caused, it may be hard to get to the root of that issue. You see what I'm saying? Because of the defenses that they develop. You know, I don't know. You see what I'm saying? But how is that their fault? So are you going to hell because of somebody did something to you that traumatized you and caused you to develop a disorder? You get what I'm
half
saying?
half the time we don't even realize that we have, the dysfunction that is stemmed from whatever the trauma, whatever that situation was. Because I know for me, I didn't know. I know I dealt with different effects of my trauma from my childhood.
It's a long.
But I think overall, like, you're not held accountable for what you don't know. So it's like a lot of the times now, it's one thing, and this is just my personal opinion. Once you know something is wrong and you choose to still do wrong, then whatever comes from that, that's on you. But to be held accountable for what you don't know, how could you? You don't know,
right?
But it is something different when you do know.
Right.
So it's like when you do, but when you know better, you do better. That's what you will, that's what I would like for people to do. But I mean, hey,
I was reading the comment.
Yeah, some good ones. Some of them are too long, like it'll block the screen off. So I don't want to.
Yeah, it's some really good comments here.
Yeah. So just wrapping it up, I'm just keep the phone lines open for a few more minutes. What are some personal just beliefs that you just find to be extremely harmful, that does more harm than good when it comes to just religion, whether it's just saying scriptures that people tend to take out of context, etc.
Y'all, what used to mess me up when I used to go to church and I ain't had no money because I'm trying to struggle. I'm making $7 something an hour. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna pay this rent, my car payment, my insurance. But I go to church and I get guilt tripped about if I don't put this 10% down in the church. So I put this money in the church and I be like, I'm gonna get to work in a couple of days. I don't even know how I'm gonna get through. Just being guilt tripped for so many things. That was like something that I wasn't feeling.
Yeah. What about you, Sai?
It's a lot. Like, again, this is not practicing what they preach, and all of the homophobia, the shunning of people. I mean, in the Kojic setup, I mean, you're basically in a cult. You're in a cult. And you're sitting up here, trying to make it seem like, or even worse is the whole, we'll just pray it away. Meanwhile, people need to be going to therapists, need to be on medication, need to be in serious counseling sessions. Just pray away generations of trauma. Hey, if that was the case, then we should have already been cleansed.
Go ahead. Yeah. I think for me, I'm just going to say too, the honor thy mother and father. I hate that because oftentimes it's used by people who are just being manipulative. And that's the thing I don't like about it. I look at it like, okay, if you're a Christian, it's okay to use it if you're really a Christian parent, meaning that you're doing your part, because the Bible also said don't provoke your children to anger. But a lot of parents, again, are out here causing their children valid anger. And as long as you're doing your part, then cool. Okay. I'm sure if you're doing your part as a parent, then your children are going to honor you because it's just given. You have these great parents. Why not? But I think a lot of parents are being hypocritical using that scripture. A lot of people are being hypocritical using that scripture. And then they're just using it to manipulate and get their way. And the second thing I hate when people are always saying, oh, don't judge. Well, we judge every day. Okay, when I go outside, I'm going to judge whether it's hot or cold, whether I need to wear a long sleeve or short sleeve. If I don't judge, that can leave me in some horrible situations. If I'm walking to the 7-Eleven and I see a man that looks suspicious, he has on a hood, standing on the corner, and I say, oh, well, I'm not going to judge. And then he pull out a knife and stab me. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have to judge. That's life. It is what it is. But I like to think that we should be judging righteously. Now, it's a different situation if I'm judging Nisha, based on what she has on or something to that effect, not knowing, what
That could be all I got. Yeah.
Right. But
Yeah.
for instance, if I'm judging a parent out here that's smacking their child, like, no, that's harmful. That's a righteous judgment. You have to know the difference. But I think so many people use the don't judge to not be held accountable. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
Yo, in the words of Barry White, they keep telling me this and telling me that. They don't practice what they preach.
They don't. And
Did you really just go there, Nisha?
Like 2 days ago, and I was like,
and this is what be getting me when they be named after biblical figures and they be so demonic. Like, what is going on? Joseph, Isaiah, Walter. And then they be out here doing the
when
most
their name should have been
devilish
Lucifer.
right.
Oh my goodness. What about you, Hasana? And we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. You know what? Before that, I think we need to come up with the theme song. We need to a theme song we sing coming in. What's your thoughts on that?
Breakers.
Yeah, let's come up with a song so we can sing coming in.
My son just told me today I can't sing, so I can't help you with that part.
So what's your what's a belief or just something, Hasana, that you are just tired of?
All of it.
All right.
I think overall, I can't really just pinpoint one thing. I mean, overall, I am just tired of the lies and the hatred and the manipulation and the betrayal and it's like all of it. Just be good. Just be a good person.
Yeah.
Just heal whatever is hurting you. If you have the means, because some people are just mentally far gone, but if you have the means to just be a better person, do the work to become a better person. Yeah. Like, forget all the other stuff. Like, just be a better person. So if you worshiping your Lord, however you choose to worship him is going to make you a better person, then you do that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You do that. Speak good or keep quiet.
Yeah.
Do good or keep it moving. Like, you
better preach that thing, girl.
I don't know. It's like you just really can't just pinpoint one thing. It's just so much that goes into it. Mm-hmm. So for myself, I just really I am an individual who I'm only responsible for me. Mm-hmm. So what I try to do is talk it like I walk it.
Right.
Walk it like I talk it. Like, you get what I'm saying? So however, if I am out here saying be a good person, best believe that I'm doing everything in my power to be a good person. Now, I have my days where, that flesh take over and I'm like, I'm on go. But then I'm able to grab a hold of myself and check myself. And if I got to go and extend some apologies, then I'm doing that. Mm-hmm. I don't think I'm better than no one. I'm a work in progress every day. So I feel like overall, it's just working on you to become a better you. Like, that's it.
Right. And that's good that you said that. Can you just imagine what it would be like if people do your religion, do whatever you do, but if we just stayed in our lane and not try to make it seem like, oh, my religion is better, or, judging somebody else for what they believe, whether they believe or not. Like, it is what it is. Can you just imagine what it will be like?
I think it would be beautiful.
Yes. We just
what people fail to realize is that we are products of our religion. The religions that we speak of, we are the product of the religion. So before a person really knows all about or Islam, they are looking at the individual. So this is why you hear people say, oh, you are supposed to be Christian. Oh, you are supposed to be, you hear that all the time. Oh, well, you're supposed to be Christian, Did you forget that I'm human? Did you forget that I do make mistakes? But we come into it as if, oh, I'm Christian, I'm better than you.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we're presenting.
Not
Right.
realizing that you
Right.
have
And that's, you
And
set
if people
yourself up
hold
to
you
be
accountable, then it's, oh, I make
Well,
mistakes.
yeah.
Okay.
And one day,
Ooh, that was good, Psych. Yes, that's exactly what it is. You this, that, and the other. But once you do something, it's like, oh, you perfect. Okay, so are you perfect or imperfect? Which one
right.
is it?
Choose a
Mhm.
side.
Right.
Choose you this day.
Who you gonna serve? That's what they say.
Honey, I'll take the human part. For
Yeah.
500, Alex.
Yeah.
yeah, like I want to know. I want people to, when they look at me, I want people to feel, you know, that we always say, oh, I don't care how nobody feel about me. No, that's bullshit.
Mhm.
Because when you are dead and gone, the people will speak out for you.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
people will have a lot of good to say, a lot of bad to say, or in between.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. But I'd rather have a lot of, that song by Beyonce, I Was Here. I always look at that and I be like, damn, I want to leave a beautiful mark on this world. I know I'm only one person, but I know that when I'm dead and gone, I would love for people to speak good of me.
And
No,
you said the
I'm
song
not.
is called what? What's the song?
What is it? I was here.
I Was Here. Okay.
Yeah. And it's like I don't want to be known as a nasty, mean, ugly
Right.
person.
Yeah.
Like, and so many people are so caught up on the looks. No, what do your heart look like?
Right. And
Because,
let me tell you, yeah.
You don't have to be attracted. I done seen some people that are not so good looking on the eye, but the heart of gold.
Yes.
They got a heart of gold that has made them look so beautiful. Their outer appearance is beautiful.
Yeah, my frog man. Yeah.
For real. Like, and I can see why you would fall in love with a frog, because if his
Yeah,
heart
no, come on.
listen. Sometimes I'm telling you, sometimes you gotta get up out that comfort zone.
I'm telling you.
Stop dating that same
Look,
man or
your
dating that same
preferences
woman.
be holding
Whatever
you back,
doing,
y'all.
you gotta jump out and you gotta open up.
Right.
Because if you that one that ain't so attractive,
right,
treat you good.
And this is my thing. It's like the appearance. It's like everything is about appearances. And then when you look at the generation after generation, that's what so many people have been taught, or if they're not verbally taught it, they're taught non-verbally that it's just about appearance. Just go to church, but you come home and then you beat up your wife. Just go to church, you come home and you beat your kids down. That's what we've been seeing all of our lives, and people just think, okay, it's just we're putting on a show, it's all appearances. And we got to break that dysfunctional, toxic behind cycle.
We aren't taught or just love other people.
Right.
Or what about the ones who are ministers and preachers and pastors who really neglect their children because you're so focused on the church house, but you neglect the children. I done seen some stuff wrong. I done seen kids fight their parents in the sanctuary because a lack of respect for the parent.
Right.
Because the parent is spending too much time in church and involved in everything in the church and not putting that same energy into their own children.
Right, because they're trying to get the proven praises of man. That's crazy. And
so like I said, overall for me, it's really just being good people, man.
Yeah.
Just be a good person and pray and worship your Lord how you gonna worship him.
Yeah.
And love on your Lord how you gonna love on him and how he's loving on you. Be a reflection of that. But all that other stuff is just so unnecessary.
Right, that's true. And that's the point I'm at in life. I just want to be around good people. I don't care your religion. I don't care about that. I just want to be around good people. I want to learn more. Like I'm even considering, I was trying to go before COVID, but to go on one of the Vipassana retreats. Is like where you go with the Buddhist monks and you go meditate and stuff like that. I want to go. Those people to me, like that, they're so peaceful, peaceful, healthy. It's just, I want to take that in. So I just want to learn and just, just take in a little bit of everything and just learn from different people. Because I look at it like there's something you can learn from everybody in a sense. So that's just where I'm at. And I'm I don't want to know this place I'm in.
I got to get this little boy.
Go ahead.
Get him ready for school.
So, okay. Well, Nisha, with that being said, let us go ahead and close out. Let's go ahead and close out because it's 8:35 and So with that being said, you guys, I want to thank the viewers for watching and tuning in, and thank, of course, the co-hosts. You guys, thank you so much for always coming through and being here. And I want you all to stay tuned. Next Sunday, we're going to be talking about gender inequality. So stay with us as we discuss that again next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can watch us on Facebook Live or YouTube. And remember, as always, that activity follows identity. It's time that you stop playing the script you've been given and start becoming the author of your own life. Only you have the power to change your narrative. It's time you rewrite your story. Until next time.